Somewhere in Chicago right now, there's a little girl growing up without a father. She won't remember his voice. She won't remember his name. She won't remember the way he walked because he died before her memories could form. His name was George Howard, but the city remembers him as Geo, and the streets he left behind renamed themselves so they would never forget him. This ain't the story of how Chicago kills its young. This is the story of how one young soul refused to disappear. Before the name, before the block, before the legend, he was just George, 15 years old, still figuring life out, still learning who he was, still becoming. He laughed like any other kid, walked like any other kid, dreamed like any other kid, but he lived somewhere different. 53rd and King Drive, where childhood don't last long and innocence don't survive. Geo wasn't alone. He had brothers, Lil Aunt, J Mama. He had family who loved him. People who saw him as more than a name. He also had a daughter, a baby who would grow up hearing stories about her father, because she never got to know him. Her father frozen forever at 15. Imagine that. Your entire existence remembered through other people's memory, not your own. On the south side, names move fast. Geo's name carried weight, not because he demanded it, but because he earned it. He was respected, not loud, not flashy, just solid. Even older guys respected him. He had ties across blocks, across cliques, across lines most people couldn't cross. He was becoming known, and he didn't even realize it. But none of that changed the truth. He was still 15, still young, still unfinished, still somebody who hadn't lived long enough to understand how short life could be. He was standing in the hallway one night, just standing, not running, not hiding, just existing. That was enough. February 28th, 2011, 8 p.m. A gunman walked in. No words, no warning, just gunfire. Geo was hit in the chest. His body shut down before his life ever had a chance to begin. And just like that, George was gone. No goodbye, no last words, no second chance. Boy 15 ID'd after fatal shooting. February 28th, 2012, Chicago. Police are now searching for the gunman. About 8 p.m. Monday evening, the gunman walked into an apartment building near 53rd and King Drive and started shooting. There was also a 14-year-old injured in that shooting. He has been discharged from Coma Children's Hospital and is said to be home feeling much better and recuperating. One family is happy, of course, for that news, while another family is grieving the death of a 15-year-old who was killed in the shooting that police are investigating to find out why it happened and who was responsible. A small crowd of people gathered in front of the Washington Park apartment building where police say someone walked in and started shooting in the hallway of the 4-story building in the 300 block of East 53rd Street. The shooting killed one teen, injured another, and wounded 2 men. Several bullet holes in the front door are a jarring reminder of the violence that took place and also serves as an incentive for community activists to try to prevent any retaliation that was rumored in the neighborhood. It was a late night for us. Ceasefires, Amina Matthews said. We were out to make sure that there is not a retaliation to what happened yesterday evening. Matthews and her colleagues were screening a documentary about the organization called The Interpreters, not far from the scene of the shooting and around the same time the shooting occurred. We were talking about educating on the epidemic of violence, and we were also talking about how we can get involved, she said. The shooting killed 15-year-old George Howard. Authorities say he was shot in the chest. A source with Chicago Public Schools says he was a student on the South Side. They just lost their loved one, said CPS Interfaith Director Reverend Ronaldo Kyles. They're hurt. They're in shock. They're in pain. Distraught. A very unfortunate situation happened to one of their family members. The injured 14-year-old happened to be passing through the vestibule when the shooting happened. He was hit by a couple of bullets, but they say he is expected to be okay. One of the bullets did enter from his back up into his ear, so they're just trying to make sure that with that wound, his hearing is not in jeopardy, said the victim's aunt, Nikki Scott. No one is in custody. The hospital couldn't save him. His family couldn't save him. The streets couldn't save him. Nothing could. His heart stopped, but something else started. His name spread faster in death than it ever did in life. People stopped saying 53rd and King Drive. They started saying GeoDrive. He didn't live long, but he lived long enough to leave something permanent behind. Most people die twice. Once when their body stops, and again when their name is spoken for the last time. Geo only died once because his name never stopped being spoken. Every time someone says GeoDrive, they bring him back. Every time someone tells his story, they give him breath again. He never got older, but his name did. His daughter would grow up one day and ask questions. Who was my father? What was he like? Did he love me? And the only answer she'll have are stories. Stories about a boy who never got to become a man. Stories about a life interrupted. Stories about someone who never got the chance to stay. Chicago didn't kill Geo. Time did. Circumstance did. A world that forces Chicago to grow up too fast did. He wasn't born to die at 15. Nobody is. He was supposed to grow older, make mistakes, learn lessons, become something, but he didn't get the chance. Geo never turned 16, never turned 18, never turned 21. He stayed at 15 forever. Not by choice, but by fate. His life didn't end. It paused. In memories, in street signs, in stories like this. And somewhere in Chicago, his daughter is still growing, still breathing, still living a life he never got to live. And maybe that's how he survives. Not through violence, not through fear, but through life itself. Geo is gone, but he is not forgotten. And maybe that's the closest thing to forever. Some say Blackgate took out Geo. Some say Lexville. The truth of the matter is, it don't really matter. What does matter is how a 15-year-old child can lose his life. How the life expectancy in the city of Chicago then was young, and till this day, is still young. Living to see 21 years of age is an accomplishment. And in my opinion, that shouldn't be. This has been another SN TV production. It's your boy, SN. I'm out.